So I was looking up black dissertations and I found one that really, really resonated with me. Black hood nigga dissertations. And this is all going to tie together. So it says lock the door and don't open it for nobody. Unpacking the fundamentals of high security with nothing but doorknobs and collective action. This is pretty funny. It's pretty funny, but this gives me a chance to go into a story time about when I was younger. So I don't know if any of you have ever heard the one and only podcast I've done with my mother where she basically detailed, her first like her beginning inception in America. And how the first time she came to America, she didn't like it and she went back to Nigeria. I'm Nigerian, by the way, if nobody knows. Um, and then her second time coming to America, she decided to stay and eventually would go on to make a living out of and or make America her home to stay, so to speak. So my mother was basically like I would say like around the time of like the mid to like I want to say like early, mid, and probably late 90s. My mom was just doing odd jobs. My mom was just doing like odd jobs, and when I say odd jobs, don't mistake my lingo. That's how she says it. I get that lingo from her. When you hear odd jobs, it just means a regular job, like working at a grocery store, working at a gas station, things of that nature. So for a small, I would say like a little bit of amount of time while my mom was here in America, she was doing odd jobs, working at various, maybe your grocery stores, your gas stations, your clothing stores, things of that nature. She was doing that. Um, I don't think my mother started getting into like the healthcare field until the early mid 2000s, I believe, is when she started like really getting into the seriousness of wanting to get in the health field, like maybe be a nurse, do home health, things of that nature. But when I believe around the time she started trying to do um, get into the healthcare field is when me as a young child, I whenever my mom wouldn't couldn't like find somebody to babysit me or couldn't find a relative to take care of me, she would let me stay by myself. Now, she started to teach me when I would stay by myself how to just get access. There's food in where the food is in the refrigerator. Don't turn on the stove. Um, other various things that were important when she wasn't home not to do. But the most important of them all, and this is all about the tie back, is when my mother would say, please lock the door and do not let anybody in. Don't let anybody in. I don't care if the police is knocking. Do not open the door for anybody. And please make sure when you lock this door and I leave, please make sure you leave only lock the bottom lock and do not lock that top lock. She would say this actual statement here, lock the door and don't open it for nobody. I don't do not let anybody come in my house. Was basically what she was saying. Each and every time I had to stay by myself. So that would kind of backfire sometimes because I would end up locking the top lock, and it would be like a thing where my mom would be like banging on the door at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning because my dumb little self locked the top lock and didn't just leave the other lock locked, and I locked both locks, and basically my mom couldn't get into whatever establishment we was living in at the time because I was listening to her words like way too closely. So yeah, that basically backfired it. But that also ties into a thing of like I have always been able to be by myself because of that. Like I learned how to be this mysterious, this private human being. Like as much as I am on the internet and a content creator and this and that and the third, there's a lot that I won't put on the internet. There's a lot that I will not dispel on the internet. Like for instance, if I were to get married tomorrow, right? Nobody on the internet's gonna get to see that because I'm the type of person who I don't want my business up on the internet like that. I like I understand that I got friends and I got family, but dog, take my number down because I'm not putting this up on the internet. If I have a baby, if and when I do have a baby or something like that, that's not going on the internet. I don't want the world seeing my child. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not. My mom's probably not even gonna get to take a picture of the baby and put it up online because I'm gonna be like, no, that's not happening. I don't care. The learning and the rearing of being able to have learned this practice of privacy and in some cases loneliness and being able to be alone. I kind of learned that from my mom because I was one of those kids who was able to stay by myself in the house. And being by yourself um, has its advantages and disadvantages. Um, and that's where I pretty much learned the art of protecting your privacy. Protecting your privacy by not putting it up. If I don't put it up, you'll never know. Um, it's just it can be sad sometimes because I don't want to ever discourage something like if and when I should have like a relationship with a woman, I don't want her to think, oh, I'm trying to hide our relationship from the world. No, I just don't feel comfortable putting my business out there, our business out there like that because it's people online who want to use your information that you put up online and use that against you. And I'm just not with that. And I'm like I said at the same time, my privacy is everything. Like the world don't need to know everything. Just like celebrities don't need to tell everybody everything. Like, bro, Kendrick Lamar could have just never told the world that he had a daughter. It would have been okay because that's his privacy. That's his business. So I mean, that is how we get to who I am as a person and how in hindsight this lock the door and don't open it for nobody certain type of like message is just like resonating in me as I found it, and it made me reminisce back on things when I was 7, 8 years old and 9 years old, you know?